Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, then please do hit that subscribe button for more content just like this every single day. If you enjoy this video, then please don't forget to hit that like button and give this video a share. I'm going to actually start this review by asking you all a question, and I want you to keep that answer in your head as I go through this review. Okay? Got it? Good. What is your biggest fear when booking and staying in an Airbnb? And I want you to think sinister. That is what I want you to project your answer out on. Your most sinister fear. Do you have your answer? Good. So let's talk Welcome Home. This is a movie which explores actually an awful lot more themes than I personally was expecting. It stars Allan, Paul and Emily Ratajkowski as a couple away to Italy on vacation, along with Riccardo Scamarcio as a local who is potentially more than meets the eye. It's directed by George Ratliff and written by David Levinson. I went into this movie not actually expecting that much, but I was pleasantly surprised. As mentioned, it explores an awful lot more themes than I had first thought. I thought, right, okay, so this is going to be a movie where murders happen and it's just some sinister neighbour. But no, I was actually wrong. We meet this couple who are away in Italy trying to mend their relationship. The woman had an affair, the man tries to forgive woman, and cue romantic location in Italy. There is a strong sense of unease in this movie, and it's from the outset, which was initially really off-putting, but after watching the movie, I put it down to the director trying to subvert the expectations of the audience. There is this couple lovingly chit-chatting in a car for the intro, and yet the music is ultra sinister. It was pretty damn jarring at first, but as you continue into the film, I could see why they went with this approach. Now, I won't say that this movie is absolutely exceptional. It's what I would classify as a Saturday night movie, something that is easy watching, short enough to enjoy, and not overdrawn, with a satisfying payoff. It's about an hour and a half long, which works very well for this type of story that the movie is telling. The lead actress, Emily Ratajkowski, is better in this than she's been in other things that I've seen her in. She acts in this, and although she isn't a standout, she's not Oscar performance at all, she is competent and she actually fits the role that she was given, which is saying something considering the other roles that I've seen her in have not been that good, but I genuinely do feel she's bettered herself as an actor, and like I said, she was good in this. Allan Paul and Riccardo Scamarcio are the standouts here. Allan Paul, of course, made famous by Breaking Bad, is now trying to branch out, show off his acting abilities and range, and here he really does actually do that quite well as well. One of the main issues with an actor becoming super famous or getting recognition from one specific role is that in every movie or role that they take from that particular one that made them famous is always the same. Typecasting, or the viewer themselves can't separate their current performance from the one that made them famous. Now here, I could separate Allan Paul from his Breaking Bad performance and this current role. He isn't playing himself, he does alter his mannerisms, and genuinely he has some range here, which granted, in Breaking Bad he displayed quite a lot of range anyway, but here it's important to note that he was good, and as I was watching this, I wasn't seeing Jesse Pinkman. Riccardo Scamarcio, though, equally so, a fantastic, threatening, looming presence, sinister but charismatic, which to me is one of the best types of antagonists, villains, bad guys, whatever you want to call it. Riccardo puts on a great performance and is thoroughly believable in this role, along with Allan Paul, of course. The story has some pacing issues here and there, but I feel that that is potentially due to me having expectations of what would happen, which is something which needs to be mentioned because potentially my own expectations ruin some of the pacing for myself. So yeah, it needs to be mentioned. As I said from the outset, this film explores an awful lot more themes than I first thought. You think that potentially there is an issue with Allan Paul, maybe he's going to be the big bad here, and then you think, oh no, maybe the girlfriend will cheat on him again with the charismatic Italian man. It treads a really nice line of balancing between several themes, then revealing itself. That question I asked you at the start, the biggest fear of staying in an Airbnb, a hotel, a house, whatever, for me, I'll give you my answer. It's being watched, being recorded, the invasion of privacy, that awful feeling of being intruded upon but not knowing, not seeing, being manipulated and your every movement watched. That is what this movie also explores. And there were some moments where I sat there and I went, well, scratching my head here, hold on, why is this actually happening? The long story short, and some spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned, here's a spoiler warning, it would seem that the owner of the house that the couple are staying in fitted the cameras everywhere. He then rents out his home, Airbnb style, and live streams the recordings around the world, potentially for more money, I guess, I would imagine anyway. And he also hires the guy that Ricardo is playing to watch over the house because he's a voyeur, he loves it. However, things go astray this time when this particular couple stays because Ricardo's character, he gets too involved. He begins to believe that he and the woman are in love, which really wraps the film up nicely because up until that point I was thinking to myself, well, this guy couldn't have done anything like this before because of course it would have all come to light. Everyone would know. People would be alarmed by this. There'd be reviews, he'd be arrested, and it is all resolved in the movie. That concern that I had, that little, oh, well, he couldn't have done this before, is all resolved with 4 words. I don't normally touch. Those 4 words proved me wrong, and again, reset my expectations for the movie. Essentially, this man is normally, and is always, just a voyeur. He just watches. That's all he's employed to do. He's employed to maintain the house, I assume, when the owner is away, and just watch people, and he gets off on it. But this time, it all went wrong, and he got a little bit too attached, and as stated, he doesn't normally touch, but here he does. Now, this movie is not exceptional, but it is a far smarter movie than you will likely be thinking that it is as you watch it. And it does have some downsides. It's definitely overscored. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's a good score, but it's too much. I get why the director chose to go that way. He wanted to subvert the expectations of the audience, but it is just too much. It's a little too repetitive, and the score that's been produced for the movie is too powerful. In my eyes, and in my personal opinion, I feel something a little bit more subtle would have been much, much better. And the acting is off in parts. Emily is the weaker part of the cast. Aaron Paul and Ricardo Scamarcio carry it. They absolutely carry this film. And in terms of the score again, because I know that will likely confuse a few people, think about a score which works well, but is just a little bit out of place, or maybe the volume is just a little bit too high. Think about those kind of things. That's what this score is. That's what overscoring is in terms of my own definition. It is okay, but it's just a little bit too out of place, and you notice it just that little bit too much. That is my definition of overscoring. However, that being said, if you want a good Saturday night movie, check it out. I actually really enjoyed this, and I enjoyed being proved wrong. My expectations and my gauges were all reset. But just go into it not expecting the absolute earth, because this movie knows what it is, and it works within that confines. It's a small budget thriller, with some genuinely tense moments, a good story that twists and turns, and plays on a fear that I mentioned at the start, being watched. Anyway, if you have seen this movie, please do let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you agree, if you disagree, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Also, I want some suggestions for future movies to review, whether they be old movies you'd like to just hear my opinion on, or current and future releases. Please do leave them down below. Also, I wouldn't mind getting back into the Mr. Hate reviews. However, they normally always get copyright struck or demonetized due to the foul language that I tend to use in them. But if you do have an incredibly bad movie that you'd like me to review for a comedic purpose, then again, leave that suggestion down below. Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. I've been Mr. Age. Take care.